Hey folks, this is Rhykker with a video about The Elder Scrolls Online, which recently got a big update, a new chapter called Necrom, which is now available on PC, Mac, PlayStation, Xbox, and even the Epic Games Store. In this video, which is sponsored by Bethesda, I'll be talking about the game, the update, the new content that has come to the game, some of my preliminary experiences diving into The Elder Scrolls Online, and some brief beginner advice. Because now's a great time to jump in as a new player. The base game is free on the Epic Games Store. And if you used to play The Elder Scrolls Online, now's a great time to jump back in, experience the new chapter, comes with a new class, and a whole new quest line that takes you into 2 new zones. Now, I was a huge fan of Skyrim back in the day. I even made a bit of Skyrim content way back. We didn't even have 720p on YouTube back then. I was big into the modding scene and everything, and before Skyrim, which was really my main Elder Scrolls game, I did do a little bit of Morrowind as well. That was my first Elder Scrolls experience. And now jumping into the Elder Scrolls Online, honestly, I was just hit with this beautiful wave of nostalgia. When I saw my first Salt Strider, I just got this warm feeling inside me, brought a rush of memories, got a tear to my eye. It was just nice to be in Tamriel again. And then otherwise, the interface and everything, it just felt really familiar, really similar to Skyrim. It was like just jumping right into a multiplayer Skyrim mod. Now, The Elder Scrolls Online is an MMO, but you're not forced to play with other people. You can play solo, you can play with friends. Personally, I like to play solo, and there's a lot of story to experience. It's an Elder Scrolls game through and through. Voice acting, NPCs, wonderful. You walk in on conversations, overhear NPCs interacting with each other. The world feels alive. There's lots of funny interactions, memorable NPCs, and again, just a lot of Skyrim vibes. Now, while you can play solo, there is some content that is group only, like 12-man raids. One of the new ones added in this update is called Bastion Nimic, which I just happened to saunter my way into, not realizing what I was getting myself into. And, maybe I'll get a group together and try it again. But the main new region that is added and you get to explore is the Telvanni Peninsula. It's this big region in Morrowind that first appeared back in the Elder Scrolls Arena in 1994, along with a major city in it, Necrom. So you have some agency over where in the world you can start as a level 1 character. Because of level scaling, you're not forced to start in Beginner Island like a lot of other games. So I went straight to this new region. And then another new zone is Apocrypha, which is accessed via the peninsula. This is a plane of existence that was created by the godlike being Hermaeus He's basically the god of fate, knowledge, and memory. We first visit Apocrypha in the Dragonborn DLC of Skyrim, and now we get to return. It's this crazy place. It's dominated by this eerie green color. You have these eldritch, Lovecraftian tentacle forms, and it's just filled with books everywhere. That's the part that I like the most. Books forming structures and walls and bridges. It's really inventive. Then the new class added with this update is the Arcanist. It's a mage class that I've been having a lot of fun with. It feels like a jack of all trades and a master of all trades. Lore-wise, these guys draw upon tomes of ancient knowledge that allows them to harness the power of rune magic, which taps into the Apocrypha itself. And they're able to wield destructive, defensive, and restorative magic. So again, they're pretty much great at everything. Playing solo, I was able to do big damage, I was able to buff myself with defenses, and I was able to heal myself. It feels like a great solo class. I don't know if all classes are great solo classes, but this one sure feels like it. And, I mean, it's also great in party play because you can heal and buff your teammates as well. Now, he also has this unique combat mechanic. You'll see when I'm fighting, some green runes start to appear around me. These are called crux, and you can have up to 3 stored at a time. Some spells will generate them, and then other spells, they'll have a base effect, and if you have any crux, that spell will be empowered based on how much crux you have. So here, let me walk you through some of the skills that I've taken. Now we have 3 class specialties of magic. You got Herald of the Tome, these are your offensive spells. Soldier of Apocrypha, these are your defensive, and Curative rune forms, your healing and support. So my main attack that I'm using is escalating rune blades. This is what's hurting enemies and generating crux around me. As you use skills, you can level them up and specialize them further. Then I also took Pragmatic Fate Carver. This is the God Beam that you're seeing me use. This is a crazy powerful skill. So the main synergy is I use rune blades to get 3 crux, and then I unleash my God Beam. It's a channeled skill, and I'm going to deal more damage because I have Crux, and based on how much Crux I have when I cast it, I'm going to get some reduction in mana cost so that I can channel it for even longer. Then in this tree here, I took Runic Embrace. I'm using this for Lifesteal. Cure to Rune Forms is just my basic pure heal, and you have all kinds of different skills. Some are your class skills, but you also have skills tied to weapons, like your Destruction Staff. I got Force Pulse. I want to get Wall of Elements, in fact. That's going to be my next upgrade, so that I can lay down an elemental barrier in front of me to damage enemies in an area. You have armor skills. Some skills are passives. They don't take up space on your hotbar. World skills. Guild skills. Definitely go find the Mages Guild and Fighters Guild. You can join both. You can get skills that are useful in conversations. Persuasive Will allows you to use the Persuasion option in conversations. Fighters Guild lets you use Intimidation. Every class as well has racial passives. That'll give them different buffs. And you got your crafting skills as well, of course. There's a whole lot to this game, and I've just dipped my toes into it, but some super basic new player advice that was helpful for me. First off, zoom out. At the start, I was playing first-person perspective because that's Elder Scrolls for me. But there's a lot of enemies that have ground effects that you need to dodge out of. The game has a dodge, you double tap a direction, you dodge in that direction, and you're going to want to use it. The attacks are telegraphed, but if you're in first-person perspective, you might not see the effect on the ground underneath your feet. So go to third person, zoom way out. Also, you're going to find urns, little urns, oftentimes in indoor areas, but kind of everywhere, and loot these. You can collect loot in there, and they're a good source of lockpicks, which you're going to need to pick locks. And picking locks is its own cute little mini game. It's Bethesda. You know, Bethesda does lockpicking good. Another tip, if you want to maximize your damage, you might be tempted to just spam your skills that consume mana, but skills on your hotbar, they have a 1-second global cooldown. So what you want to do is, between every cast of a skill, toss in a light attack, just like a regular left-click attack. This way you're maximizing your damage by doing a light attack while you're waiting on the global cooldown. You need to reach level 10 to unlock your mount, but as soon as you're able to, go to a stable and start, and that's like at level 1, you don't have to wait for level 10. As soon as you're able to, go to a stable and start researching your horse skills. You can do one of these every 20 hours, so it'll basically become a daily thing, and you don't want to miss a day. Also, upgrade speed at first. Also, you get companions in this game, so try to get a companion as early as possible. It's a nice power buff to have some help with you. Also, the companions are just super cool. Look at my guy, his name is Sharp as Night. This chapter introduced 2 new companions, Sharp as Night, and the other one's named Xander, I believe. I don't know anything about him, but if he's half as cool as Sharp as Night, he's got to be a badass too. So if you're doing like me, if you're starting in this zone, then you're going to find Sharp outside of Necrom. He's going to be around this area over here. You'll see him on the road, talk to him, initiate his quest line, and after getting to know him on some adventures, then you can keep him as a permanent companion. Oh, also, you're going to see things called Sky Shards. Collect them. You're sometimes going to see one and not going to know how to get to it. You're going to try to get to it and then realize, oh, I can't actually climb that. Figure it out. Figure out how to get to it. You might have to go around and find a back way, look at your map, try to figure it out because you want to collect these. 3 Sky Shards gives you 1 skill point. So as we wrap up our video here, I encourage you folks to sound off in the comments, what are your beginner tips for newcomers to Elder Scrolls Online, or what are your experiences as a veteran of the game? What do you like most about it? So again, check out the Elder Scrolls Online. You can get the base version of the game for free on the Epic Games Store. Follow my link in the description below and join us in Tamriel.